Hello, gents. Welcome to another edition of the Long Range Corner with your host, Matt Bardeen. Tonight we have a very special guest. He's actually on. Oh, I'm hearing myself. Weird. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So we have a very special guest who needs no introduction. He is on his way to the office right now. He said he had to stop and deal with some punk that was hawking clone triumphs. Oh, I said the word clone. He was hawking off-brand triumphs on the street corner. So, yeah, I know I had to wear the Team Blacksheep sweatshirt. It's actually getting cold here, so yeah. And you got to represent the brand for the man. You know, he's taking his time. It's 9 a.m. on a Sunday there in Hong Kong, and he's going into the office to chat with us. So really have to hand it to him and say thank you for coming on, Trappy. Thank you for making the effort whenever he gets here. So, yeah. What have I been doing? Myself, I've not been doing anything. I've been sitting around the house because I'm sick. Got a little bit of cold, spent most of the day with a headache, and yeah, other various bits that's been going on in my life that has prevented me from going out and flying. Obviously, I can't talk tonight, but I do have a beer, and I'm not going to give up my beer just because I'm sick. Yeah, thanks, Mike. I feel like shit as well. Got a low-grade fever going on. Had a sore throat most of the day yesterday, and yeah, like I said, headache most of the day. And yeah, it's been an eventful day. Yeah, what's been going on with you guys? I have been not paying too much attention here in the world, so I don't know what's going on in long range. If anything exciting has happened, I'm just killing time until Trappy shows up. He will show up eventually, I'm sure, but I still look good. Yeah. Mike's been flying his mini drac. I've seen a lot of videos from this mini drac. Good shit, Mike. I really enjoyed that. I know you're trying to motivate me to get mine done, but you know, I'm contemplating how nice it looks in its existence on the shelf up there. So it's a shelf queen. You know, if I don't fly it, it's always going to look perfect. Yeah, let's see what else. I actually charged up batteries to go fly on Sunday last week, but never got out. Never made it out of the house. Sad. You want to actually crash on launch? That's exactly what I don't want to do, Mike. I so don't want to crash it on launch. So I'm going to crash my wing first. I've got that. That is actually pretty much set up. I need to check the throws. I need to check the reflex, and I need to check to make sure that it's actually doing what it should do in terms of the ailerons. So, yeah, I saw you were playing with lithium ion. I want to get some packs in myself. I'm waiting for those. I'm waiting for money so I can get those. It's just about payday here, so in maybe another month or so, I'll actually start buying stuff again when I actually have money. But yeah, I want to build a couple of lithium ion packs for the G2, the TBS G2. And I see how far I can take that out.
Hello.
Hey, we got Trappy on. Hello, Trappy.
Hey man, how's it going? I'm sorry.
No worries. We were just shooting the shit, talking about my lithium ion plans and what I'm planning on doing with your G2.
Which batteries are going to be using? Is it that like the red ones from this US store?
Probably not, since I'm going to have problems getting them through customs. I'll probably get them through some Chinese shop.
All right.
I think I was looking and I quoted the Sony's 2700s, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
I think.
What's the C rating on those? They're rated by amps, right?
Yeah, they're rated by amps. If I remember correctly, those were they were 20C, I think, and I was going to run them in maybe 5S2 parallel, something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
That should do it. That may not work for my current G2 because I think that's limited to 4S with it, the KISS flight controller on it and the KISS CC. But yeah, so that's the plan. I haven't gotten much past looking at batteries. You know, I went to the webpage and I said, "Oh, that looks nice. I can do that." And well, since I have no money, you know.
Well, the problem with the lithium-ion batteries is that the weight matters so much that like I don't know, it's almost too hard to get to a weight where you can reach the sweet spot on quads.
Yeah. Okay.
Like on wings, it's super easy, and you can easily double your flight time, like with no added weight.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen the guys do that with. There's some guy that's doing like 70 kilometer autonomous missions with his wing, which is crazy. So just amazing that. Yeah. But I've seen the Russian guys, that same group of guys that did the 10 kilometer high flight. They did a 12.5 kilometer flight on an iFlight I7.
Out and back?
Out and back, yeah. 12.5 out and then back. And
that's awesome.
So
yeah, that's the range that we got with our long range disco.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So let's get into that. I really wanted to talk to you about the origins and long range, and because one of the things that called my attention way back when I saw a video from TPS, I think it was the Discovery, and you were doing long range quads.
Yeah.
Long range flying. You were flying up a mountain, and what called my attention is you actually had to stop and change out the battery and then continue on.
Yeah, those were the days, man.
So that was back when, that was probably what, 2014, somewhere around there?
That's actually a good question. I think it was 2013.
Okay.
Yeah, like 4 to 5 years ago,
Yeah. So you started out with wings, obviously. I think everybody knows that. Hopefully everybody knows that. How long ago was that?
It's right about 10 years ago now.
10 years ago. So 10 years in the hobby flying long distance.
Well, we didn't fly that long distance at first. We wanted to fly long distance.
I actually heard of an interview with you from a vlog or something like that a while back, and you said you put FPV on your sailplane.
Yes.
You had a sailplane. You had it was an expensive sailplane, about 3,000 euros, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Yeah, and
it was all the money I made, like doing paper rounds as a little kid, went into that plane. It was really bad.
And you stuck FPV on it, and you said you went 3 kilometers, something like that, the first day.
I'm guessing it was more like 2 kilometers. I may have exaggerated a little bit.
Yeah.
But I did get lost, and which is kind of like, if where I'm from, it's a valley, right? So you can only get lost 180 degrees. You cannot get lost at 90 degrees.
That makes it a little bit easier to find yourself. Yeah.
Exactly. So I was just too nervous to realize that I was flying away from myself rather than back to myself.
Been there, done that. Got that T-shirt.
Yeah. And so I ended up in the next town, or over the next town, and then just like, I remember just freaking out. But back then it was kind of it was easier because we had 35 megahertz.
Yeah.
Which you start to get the twitching, and then, oh shit, I'm out of range, and you just haul your transfer up, and that doubles your range again. And or like you hang on to the ground plane of the antenna, and then you start radiating 35 megahertz, so you can go even further a little bit. So we had like ways of increasing our range in those tight situations. And that was like, yeah, it was my first FPV flight. I had a patch antenna lying on the ground, pointing up to the sky, and just completely everything was done wrong. Like there were like 700 cables going to my head to feed the video and the battery power and everything. It was a nightmare, and I didn't know how to solder. And oh my god, yeah.
Did you actually land the plane? That's what I want to know. Did you actually
Oh
get
yeah,
the plane back?
the plane still lives
Okay,
to this
good.
day. Like it's gone through hell and back, but it still lives. Yeah, I just never had the. There's so much effort around flying a plane like that.
Yeah, I can
Like
believe it.
it's like a boat, right? You gotta maintain it regularly. You gotta
Yeah,
like pay some fucking. It almost feels like paying insurance money every year, just so that you can get it back. Yeah,
what's it? What do they say about boats? Boats are basically a hole in the water that you throw money at. So,
exactly.
so you've got a hole in the sky that you throw money
Yeah,
at.
exactly. Well, I don't anymore. Like the reason why we switched then we were then looking at cheaper alternatives.
Okay.
And back then, wings, like the wing thing, was completely like new
Okay.
on the scene. Like just wings was new.
Yeah. So you were typical of the planes out back then, right? And then you
Yeah.
kind of shrink it to the wing size. Well, what was it? It was a right wing that started coming
No.
out.
Yes. Well, right wing was already in business for about a year, probably two,
Okay.
by then. But they were kind of like the TBS now, like like innovating and creating these crazy airfoil designs to to push certain aspects of the hull.
Yeah. Okay.
But the first wing that I bought was a Maxi Swift from a company called MS Composite.
I've actually heard of the
Um,
Maxi Swift.
yeah, it's a pretty sweet plane to get started because the airfoil is like as thick as a Coke can.
Okay.
So it's no matter how much throttle you apply, 10 miles an hour is the maximum speed you will go.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, so that was the first like venture into this, and I think there's still my FPV Maxi Swift video on YouTube,
I think I've seen that. Yeah.
with like lots of tape, shitty components everywhere. Um, but this is where we kind of started prototyping.
Yeah. Okay. So you started out with 2.4, right? 2.4 on
Yeah,
video,
yeah,
since you had 35 on control,
yeah,
and then you jumped to 433 on control.
and stick with 2.4.
Yeah, and do you still fly 2.4 now, or is it just out of the question in Hong Kong?
No, no, no. I mean, we still fly 2.4 a lot.
Okay.
And it's still my favorite frequency. Like every time I mean, 90% of my flights is 5.8 just for the
Oh,
sheer convenience of. I even don't have goggles anymore. I got rid of my goggles.
you just fly with a Tango.
I just use Tango and the screen.
Okay.
Um, so it's more of a convenience thing. This whole 5.8 stuff.
Yeah.
It's actually it's not that great. Like um, usually at the ranges that we fly, like 2 to 3 miles, it starts to become
Iffy.
sketchy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I've experienced that. Have you thought about building like a little ground station with a 5.8 repeater?
Well, we sell one.
Yeah, I know you sell one, but with a 5.8 repeater?
Yeah, the 5.8. There's a Unified Pro included when you buy a ground station.
Really? I didn't
Yeah,
catch that.
yeah,
Very nice.
yeah, yeah. So, I mean, for that reason, right? Because we
Yeah,
don't want to lose the convenience factor of having the Tango and just plugging in your goggles if you have them.
yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah.
Ah, cool. Very, very cool. Yeah, so then you got started in wings. When did you start doing the mountain diving? I
Oh,
imagine
almost
almost immediately.
immediately. Yeah. I think we started diving mountains. Well, actually, there's this. Hang on a second. I gotta check what it's called. to the peak, I think.
Yeah, I think I recall seeing that when you were on Easy UHF.
Yeah,
You had
Maxi Swift, June 2009.
Yeah.
That was not Easy UHF yet. Easy UHF did not exist back then.
Okay.
And this was like straight out of my backyard. So at the beginning, you can see a photo that was taken from like literally when I step outside my house or my parents' house in Austria. This is what I can see. And every time this peak was like, looking down on me and saying like, "You scared piece of shit, you do not get up here." And every time I went to school, it was like, I'm gonna.
I hear that. I hear that. I understand that.
So one day I just got. I didn't think I was ready, but I was just so fed up with like having the equipment ready, having flown for FPV now for like 3 weeks,
3 weeks,
without
yeah, no problem.
without a crash. I mean, I was flying FPV back then for a year, but you have to remember everything moves way different at a way different pace back then. Like I remember frying a 5-volt regulator and then waiting 4 months to get a new one. Right? It was like,
yeah.
Oh Jesus Christ, man! I remember like, holy shit! It didn't work at first, so I thought like, oh, maybe I plugged it in wrong, and then I just reverse polarized it and just everything blew up.
That's called learning the hard way.
Yeah, that was, and that cost me 4 months. Like it was ridiculous. It was the entire flying season waiting for a new 5-volt regulator. Anyway, so one day I just decided to the peak. Let's go up there. And then when I was up there, I was like, okay, so what do I do now? And almost like instinctively, we dived the mountain. It was not a dive. Like it was maybe 100 meters up.
Okay, yeah.
But it was flying quickly along the contour of the mountain, right?
Yeah.
And then obviously that was pretty cool. And then we started, going closer and going closer to trees. Like one of the specialties of mine was like skimming along the treetops.
Okay. Yeah, I like those kind of shots. Yeah. Long range proximity 2 is one of my favorite videos, and there's a lot of that there.
Yeah, those were the scary. Like it's super scary flying across the treetops because you never know when something's gonna come out.
Yeah, the ninja branch.
Jump at you. Yeah,
the ninja branches, the ninja treetops in this case.
Yeah.
So how many wings have you lost?
It's not that many, man.
Not
like
my
original wing still flies somewhere. Like that. Not the Maxi Swift, but we have one video. It's called TBS Right Wing Zephyr Maiden or something.
Yeah.
Like that Right Wing Zephyr still lives, and it's almost 8 years ago now.
Okay.
And that still lives. So wings, we actually never lost that many. Like even I hit a boat once, in Turkey, like out on the ocean, like 5 miles out, and we still managed to get that back.
Awesome.
Somehow.
Well, the nice thing about wings is they float. So
yeah.
You got an advantage there.
Plus in seawater, they kind of tend to send smoke signals.
Yeah. That makes it really easy.
Yeah, it wasn't hard to find. It was just hard to get out of the water without getting like electric shock.
So what's the hairiest recovery of a wing that you've had?
Oh, one was pretty bad. So the linkages?
Yeah.
Between the servo and the yellow one. If you have these, I don't know what they're called, like the clips.
Yeah, the little the horns, not really the horns.
Not the horns. The other end. Yeah. So these screw in, right?
Yep.
So if you don't attach one side of them, or if you don't glue one side of them, the linkage can actually vibrate free
Yeah, yeah.
by itself, right? So that happened, and it happened during transportation, and I didn't check, obviously. So I
Oops.
just took the wing and I threw it, and as I was throwing it, I saw like the linkage like jump up and down, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And I threw it off a cliff,
Oh
right? I threw
crap.
the wing off a cliff, and so it just turned around and landed like 5 meters below me
Okay.
on that cliff. Um, so I was like, "Yeah, no big deal," put the remote control aside, and then like jump down ledges of rock, getting getting to that airplane. And then once I got to it, I unplugged the battery, and then I turned around, and then I realized I was stuck.
Oh crap. Oh crap.
So like there was no way on earth I was gonna get back up. Like I did like this Tom Cruise Mission Impossible jump from one ledge of a rock to another, but it
Oh,
was down,
yeah.
so back up, no
No
way,
way.
right? So we had to call in the mountain rescue squad is what they're called, I think. Uh,
Help! I'm stuck on the side of a mountain.
yeah, with a foam thing. You will see me like they saw me waving this white flag. So that
Oh.
was pretty eventful.
So evidently the chat room really wants to know about the 2.4 gigahertz vision, FP vision. For some
Yeah,
reason, I don't know. I didn't cue them, so it's not my fault.
it's stuck somewhere.
It's stuck somewhere. Okay.
Yeah, we're like we have several different stations here, like hardware, software, and whatever. I actually asked about it 2 weeks ago, and they said, yeah, it's stuck somewhere. And yeah,
Yeah.
we're
It,
we
so
don't
to
want to
be
rush things, but at the same time, like certain other companies determine our priorities at this
okay.
moment. So
Yeah, yeah, understood. So be patient, guys. Be patient. It will eventually show up, and it'll be Christmas all over again.
well, I'm looking forward to it because that will bring back the convenience of 2.4, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm actually really looking forward to it too. I've got at least 2 or 3 or 4 or how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 quads that could use it.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's talk a little bit more about the long range quad thing. So you started off with the Discovery as long range, right?
Yeah. I mean, everything that we had was long range immediately. Like that was always the first. Our thought was never like let's fly in circles on a field through artificial obstacles, right? That was
Yeah, yeah.
seemed it seemed like a boring proposition.
Yeah, that's
And
actually
it's
my take on that as well. But what do I know?
yeah. Well, anyway, so yeah, I mean we got the Discovery. I think like the third or the fourth flight we did with it was like trying to push range.
Okay.
Like prototype flight, right? Not even finished yet. So
Nothing like sending your prototype up a mountain to see
yeah,
how far it will go.
yeah, it was still like a CNC cut FR4, like no traces inside, nothing. Yeah, but it was kind of fun to see. It was completely different. Like the feeling was completely different because with the wings, our goal was or the kind of feeling you got from flying wings was just this constant flow
Yeah,
of
yeah.
stuff rushing past you, right? There's a really cool video that we did. It's called Winter Wonderland.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen that. That's just us
probably,
like
but
flying through Swiss towns, right? So we reversed the whole thing. We got on top of a mountain, and then we flew down into the valley, and then we just flew along towns really low, like through the town, like in the back mirror, chasing cars down roads type of flying.
Ruining
right?
the hobby.
Yeah. Well, back then it wasn't really that.
No, of course not. You were making the hobby.
Yeah, exactly. Back then, people thought it was the coolest thing ever. Nowadays, there's opinions on everything.
Oh my God, the puppies will die.
Yeah, yeah. What if? I love the post to start with "What if." It's like, well, what if I won $1 million?
Yeah.
The chances are the same. Yeah, but anyway, so that if you watch that video, you'll understand like what flying wings really means. It's just this constant. It's like a trance, right? You're just woo, 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 stuff just moving past you at all times. And then with the quads, it was like, oh, there's something cool, and then you just turn around and stop and looked at it for a second. And I remember there was this one spot. We were flying down this trees and a rock.
Okay.
And there was like moss. It's called moss, right? Like the green stuff on a rock. And it was a sunset. And I was like, how fucking awesome would it be to just sit there right now and look out into the sunset? And then my buddy was like, well, you got a quad now, right?
You can do that.
You can do that. So we just like, okay, all right, let's try it. And so we flew up the mountain. It was like 2 miles up.
Okay.
Turned it around and landed on top of it. Just sat there for like 5 minutes, just like, oh, that was cool.
So you invented perching before perching existed.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So these were kind of like, it was completely different experience, right? With like, it was more like, compare wingsuit diving to hiking, right?
Yeah.
Like these two things. So it wasn't really about the adrenaline anymore. It wasn't about the rush of like flying as low and as fast as you could. It was more about gentle cruising and like meeting people, right? That was like super weird for everybody except for us.
The strange thing is flying and waving at me. What the hell?
They were like, where's the pilot? And we were like miles down the valley. I was like, you're not gonna see us, guys. Yeah, but I mean, it kind of like the rumors kind of spread along our valley, so people knew pretty much immediately, and then they were like, fun activities. Like we always brought chocolate along, like on a little string. So if there was somebody we met, we just like hovered above them. They got the chocolate, and they were happy.
Awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great use of quads, right?
Yeah.
Excellent. So now, when was your first long range mini quad flight?
The first long range mini quad flight was with the Vendetta.
Yeah, I think I saw that. The 7-inch.
Or
was it even? Was it?
I think it already was the 7-inch.
Okay.
Vendetta long range. Long range proximity, May 2015, May 25th, 2016.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that was pretty. I'm not sure if that video influenced me or if I had been thinking about the long range previously. But pretty soon after that, I had the Crossfire. I think I had my Crossfire in June of 2016. So,
yeah, this was kind of like when we started to notice the real benefits of the Crossfire. Like,
the potential.
Yeah, I mean, to be completely honest, like the 433 systems for flying 2-3 miles out on a wing, it was fine.
Yeah.
Right. Once you wanted to really push like to 10-15 miles, the Crossfire obviously was way more reliable.
Yeah.
But that was, those were like the extreme flights, like the 1% flights.
Yeah.
So it didn't really hold us back all that much. But what really started to get annoying was the fail-safes with the quads. Like on the Gemini 1, when the Crossfire wasn't out yet, we had like fail-safes at like 1/10 of the distance of a 2.4 link because of all the noise on the 433 band. Like the GoPro created noise. Back then we had the run cam or the dash cam or whatever they
Okay,
called
yeah,
it.
yeah.
808 cams. They were like
Yep.
basically they were their own UHF system on 433. Like they had like milliwatts of output power.
Oh, crap.
All over the band. So yeah, that was kind of the moment where we knew, okay, this is pretty legit. Like we cannot do this with any other system.
Yeah.
And that also kind of like inspired us then to make the micro V2 receiver.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
micro V1 receiver was more of a like more of a gimmick, to be honest.
Yeah. I actually bought into the Crossfire because I was interested in its capability of interfacing with the Pix Hawk with the APM system.
Yeah.
So that was I saw that and I said, oh, I can transmit telemetry from my AP machine back to my transmitter and then retransmit it to Bluetooth. Oh, that's fucking cool. That's magic.
Yeah.
I had been using Easy UHF for a while before that, but I had tons of problems.
Yeah.
Short range fail safes. There was one particular incident where I had to hike in the snow.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that post. Yeah.
So I had to hike in the snow to recover my quad, and I was like, no, I don't trust this enough to really put that on anything micro.
Yeah.
And then I got the Crossfire in, and I started playing around with it and started pushing the range, and I loved it. I mean, being able to not worry about your quad, except for doing stupid stuff, obviously. But not worrying about stuff that you don't do is just a great feeling. So
yeah.
So I have to say the Crossfire has definitely pushed the limits of mini quad.
Yeah, I mean it's pushed the limits of pretty much anything related to long range, right? I mean, it's been
yeah. So
I just hang on a second. I just realized I haven't shared our link to the lounge. Have you shared it to the lounge?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Okay. All right, good.
I don't know how many people paid attention to it, but
so, hang on a second. There we go. Nobody's even liked it yet.
Yeah. There are people out there that watch, but
okay, cool. Where can I see the comments, by the way? Because
if you go
we're on Hangouts.
Yeah,
I gotta go to the YouTube thing, right?
Let me give you the link here.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Yeah. So there. Yeah. J10 shirt to the lounge. Jason Tan. Flux FPV. He still has a Discovery frame still lying around.
Yeah.
You don't fly.
Most of us do. we actually, when we had a blowout on those T motors, like we were selling. I don't know if you we were selling T motors at $2, right?
Yeah, no, I got some. Actually,
yeah,
so there's some sitting on this quad right there. That's 9-inch alien with some T motors on it.
Yeah, because we had like boxes of this stuff. I think it was 8,000 motors that we still had lying around, just from back in the days when that
was hot.
And T-Motor always had like shit lead times, and that was the reason why we blew them out, right? So we were selling these, and suddenly like all these people came out of the woodwork and started
buying new Discovery frames
and buying Discovery frames, and like it was like 2013 all over again, and it was awesome. Like, because I usually like once or twice a week I pack some orders for a couple of hours, just to get like a feel of what people are buying and what they're doing with it, because like every order tells a story, right? Because we also got the order history, so like, oh, here's a guy that bought a Vendetta. oh, here's a guy that bought an arm, a motor, and 3 props. And then you're like, oh shit, what happened with that, right?
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting to see this stuff, and so we were back there, like almost in tears, like packing our OG orders again, right? Like 900 kV motor sets with Graupner props, a core like TBS core with TBS Discovery, and these T-motor motors.
That's awesome. I actually have to say that I do not have a Discovery. I actually I was at Lumineer.
Well, you went with the Lumineer. Yeah, you went with the Lumineer.
Yeah, I had a 540 for a while that I never really liked, and then finally settled on the Cinetank, which is that bad boy there.
Yeah.
Not quite as good flight time as the Discovery. I had a buddy, Gon's Q. I don't know if he's in chat, but he actually bought a 15-inch Discovery. You know, the long arms,
scary one. We call it the scary one.
The 6S. Yeah, 6S. He got some pretty incredible flight times out of it, I must say. But it was scary. It was.
Yeah, it's still a really scary machine. Like, I remember flight testing it here in the middle of summer, when you have crazy thermals, and we were actually thermal soaring.
I do thermal soaring out of my mini quads. Thank you very much. Well, not thermal.
Oh, but yeah, like the slope winds.
Yeah, you get the slope winds. They just push you up the slope, and you're like, you cut the throttle, and you're still going up, and you're like, hey, wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's I don't know. It was a completely different experience again. Like, we were doing I think one of the craziest flights I did was 24 minutes.
Okay.
Of constant, like 60 kilometers an hour flying.
Yeah.
It was pretty intense, and there was like sessions of, like, you fly along this ridge line, and then suddenly, like, oh, there's an upwind. Let's turn around and like circle up with the birds, like
with a quad.
Yeah, exactly. Like, put it into GPS position hold, and turn off the throttle, and the altitude just goes up. It was
awesome. Now, with your discoveries, were you flying them with the NASA, or you were flying with the NASA?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So did you do anything with the Pixhawk at all, or?
No, never.
No.
I'm not that kind of guy. Like, I don't like tinkering with software settings.
Yeah,
it's just not that how do you call it? Not that rewarding to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just want, like, oh, let's go.
The only thing I can say about the Pixhawk is its acro performance is actually pretty decent.
Oh yeah, I mean, compared to NASA.
Yeah, compared to NASA, everything is pretty decent. But
yeah.
So that's basically why I read the Pixhawk, is because I wanted at least to be able to fly my machine, rather than just point it and let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else can I ask you? Any good stories from when you were flying way back when?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, nothing that just comes to mind. Like, in general, we always had fun. Or, I mean, we still have fun. Every time going out flying is a blast. It's happening not way too little these days, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Is that just because of business, or is that because of lack of motivation?
No, it's like
business.
Okay, just to give you an idea. Today's a Sunday.
You're in at 9 a.m.
It's 9 a.m. I'm in the office, and so Sunday's usually my girlfriend's day.
Yeah.
Right? So like, she gets to plan it, and she had a 2-hour slot today.
And I was able
to,
with your presence. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So no, it's like, I would be here anyway, right?
Oh, okay. No, I don't feel bad, but
no. But and this has been for the past 6 weeks, on Sundays, I was off 2 hours. And that for me means I was working 12 hours.
Yeah, okay.
And that's my day off. So
it's your day off.
Yeah.
True.
So it's actually like at the moment I don't know, it's not even that enjoyable anymore, to be honest. Because it's not really revolving around quads and projects and shit like that. It's more about trying to rescue the entire industry.
Yeah.
It's completely going to shit. Thanks to a couple of individuals, and it's pretty frustrating because you're actually you're fighting against people that are supposed to be fighting with you.
Yeah.
Which is kind of.
I don't want to get too much into the.
No. I don't want to get into that either. I was just like, so this is why I'm not flying, and it's actually kind of sad.
I do understand that. Actually, I'm part of my. I don't know. I haven't been getting as much joy out of flying as I used to, and I think part of that is it's a little bit of what's going on in the industry, but not too much. It's more. I've done a lot of crap, a lot of crazy crap, and I'm pretty happy with what I've done. And being able to go out and fly just around in the parks isn't very exciting to me. There's no adrenaline.
No, I mean, but this is a really interesting point, right? So where was this? I think I did this on a podcast, the Wildflyer podcast.
Okay.
So they asked me why the industry is suffering the way that it is, and it's pretty simple. The answer is super simple. We are in this to enjoy ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? And men, and this is a man's hobby, and I'm not saying it belongs to men, but it's 99% of the people in it are men. Okay, so
99% of my views are men. So
yeah. I think it's 94% for TBS.
Yeah, okay.
Right? So we still got the. Yeah, well, I think 3% are the undecided.
Oh,
right? Okay. But anyway, so it's predominantly a men's hobby, and men don't like the same shit over and over again.
Yeah.
Right, like we are bioengineered to chase as many different girls as we can, and at the same time, like the whole thing is, we just want, like, you buy a Ferrari after 2 years, you're gonna be bored with it, no matter what happens. So
we want novelty. We want novelty.
We want
to push the limits. We want adrenaline. We want
exactly.
And that I understand what you're saying. It kind of creates clashes because it is basically a big dick measuring contest.
Oh yeah. Oh no, but that is the fun part of it, right? Like there used to be so much dick measuring back in the days, like when we were pushing the range of things, right? The only reason why long range exists is because I had a small penis complex and thought, like, I'm gonna go like 3 times as far as that asshole, right? And not asshole in a bad way, but just like, okay, like how dare he go 2 miles, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna go 6. Damn it.
Exactly, and I mean, back then we had this challenge. It was always double or nothing.
Okay.
So if somebody did 10 kilometers, we went 20. And then he did like 22, and then we went 45. And then somebody did 46, and we went 90.
We were destroyed.
Exactly. We don't want to. We want to embarrass. So anyway, back to this whole thing. The problem, like with all this copying and cloning part, is not really the destruction of the businesses that innovate. It's the destruction of innovation in the industry. Yeah. So with the destruction of innovation in the industry, you destroy the industry, because if nothing changes, then people get bored.
They don't buy the new stuff. It's actually interesting to me because it's kind of this dichotomy. or this I don't know, bipolar issue, because you have, Steele on one hand, who is, you say that is, you admire what he does because he evolves his machines so slowly. He doesn't buy the next big thing.
Yeah.
And that's actually bad for business.
Yeah, but it's a completely like it's one area or one aspect of the hobby that has to evolve slowly because it's a very perfectionist type of situation, right? So that is like one area of it, right? So not we never nobody will ever agree on everything.
No,
right?
obviously.
So if it's a major part of and being like Steele is not bad for business, right? Like he's just a really good pilot, and that's bad for business.
He doesn't crash.
Yeah, he doesn't crash, and but he buys the most expensive stuff out there.
Yeah.
Not because it's expensive, but because he wants something that's reliable and that's proven, and he doesn't want to spend time. He wants to fly more than he spends time tinkering.
Yeah.
And usually you pay for the privilege of that, right?
Yeah.
Because somebody else had to tinker for you, so you got to pay him.
Yeah, exactly.
So, that is not really bad for the industry. What the problem with this imitation or copying or cloning is everything starts to become the same, and then everything starts to become less interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And it's not just a problem for the innovators; it's also a problem for the copycats because they're not really doing anything.
Like they're not doing anything new.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to cut you off here because I kind of told people that you wouldn't mention the C word. So.
Yeah, I don't want to get into like this is like more of an industry view of why we are so upset about all of this.
No, I actually understand. I actually understand that, and I actually don't agree with a lot of the things that have been done in the industry. But I do understand, people want cheap stuff.
Yeah, but there's innovation in cheap stuff as well, right?
Yeah.
So like, for example, if you look at what Hobby King was doing with the Turnigy 9XR.
Yeah.
Right. That was an innovation to make something as cheap as possible, and that made OpenTX, which now made other companies, right? So there can be innovation in cheap stuff because you innovate for volume. So you make like the Volkswagen of something, right? Yeah. So it's anyway, but it's something different, and people you need something different, and like a lot of people are saying like, oh, he's complaining about these guys because they're competition. Competition would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Right? Like if I had somebody to bounce back and forth off of, to like to challenge us and to kind of like push ourselves cognitively, right? Not just financially. That would be awesome. But
it's in biology, you have things that are mimics, so or convergent evolution. So you have some niche, and you want some organism evolves to fill that niche.
Yeah.
Right. Now you can, if you're trying to compete with that organism for that same niche, you can either evolve to be something different, or you can be more efficient at exploiting that niche.
Yeah.
So I see a lot of parallels between like biology and industry in that.
Oh, totally. It's 100% the same thing.
Yeah.
Like to me, I mean, I don't understand a lot of biology, but it's always we always see everything as an organism, and you can never really like, you can drink a lot of Red Bull, right?
Yep.
But eventually you're gonna run out of fuel.
No, yeah.
So yeah, or or you're gonna have problems with sugar or whatever. So you always gotta like there's gotta be a giving and taking, and there's gotta be a balance. And in
Yep.
life, like biology is really good at having established a balance because it's been doing it for billions of years,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So yeah, that there's a lot of parallels in that, and it's also why it's so like weird to see certain people argue about things that are pretty obvious in biology. It's like, no, it's not how it works. You can't do it like that. It's not going to last. It's not going to be sustainable.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because in biology there are organisms that don't go sustainable. For example, locusts.
Oh yeah,
is a great example.
Yeah. Well, I've drawn many parallels to locusts.
I should give you that example.
Yeah.
But I mean, it doesn't even have to be locusts. You could talk about rabbits or things like that because you get boom bust cycles. So
yeah, or humans, right?
Yeah. Anyway, let's get back to the long range. This is interesting. I could talk about it forever, but my favorite video from you, the long range proximity 2, you had an eagle attack your wing.
Yeah, that wasn't me. That was my friend.
Okay, that's your friend. Oh, that's even better.
Yeah. I just got to watch this from Hong Kong.
How many animal attacks have you had on your quads, wings?
Personally, I've had no animal attacks whatsoever.
Okay.
But one of the coolest things that I had happened with my gliders was I constantly had wingmen. And that was just like one of the most amazing things you could ever like. I had a well, I'm not supposed to. A guy that I know.
Okay, a guy that you know, we'll call him Trappy.
Yeah. No. It was like it wasn't me. It was a friend of mine. So he was going through some hard times. He was having depressions, and so I just said, like, why don't you just come out and fly with me, right? And we went out and we're just cruising along somewhere, and along came this glider, my glider, and along came this flock of I think it was 2 eagles, like 2 baby eagles that were just getting started, and so we had like a panic tilt on the glider, right, so that we could see the wingtips. Because when you're thermaling, seeing the wingtips kind of helps you with not getting dizzy because you're like circling all the time.
Yep. Okay.
So and when you're looking for thermals, you always look for birds because that's where the thermals are. Right?
Yeah, obviously.
They know. They've been involved. They evolved that way. So yeah, we were like up like probably like 8,000 feet, something, like in the middle of the sky doing thermals with the variometer, and then all of a sudden there's like 2 birds like being wingmen for like an hour.
Oh, awesome.
And after we landed, I will never forget this. He just said, like, that was the most amazing thing. This may have saved my life.
I can believe that. That probably would have changed my life as well.
Yeah, it was like really like, you're like completely somewhere else.
Yep.
And these species that are just fucking amazing.
Yep.
Just show up next to you and participate in this challenge of staying up in the air with you, and they're actually helping you to find, like, they were like drifting away slowly, and they're like, oh okay, we gotta go a little bit over there, right? And then follow the leader. And you could see that they were not that good, because they were keeping up with us, right? And weren't completely destroying us, and in the thermal discipline, they were just getting used to flying. But anyway. So that was my eagle encounter, which was 180 degrees of what my friend is always experiencing, and he lives in the Cento Valley, which
Okay.
is like a valley we call it Italy, but it's the Italian part of Switzerland. It's like calling California Mexico. Yeah. Anyway, but he has this really territorial guest in his airspace, and he's had like several attacks.
Really. Yeah, I've been pretty lucky here. They're not very territorial. I've had a couple birds like kind of stalk my quad previously, but not really attack it. A friend of mine actually got to fly with the condors at one point, so that was actually cool because I was actually watching him line of sight while he was flying, and you just see these three birds just go whoosh by. You're on a cliffside, and they just fly by at like right at eye level, and whoosh. Noise. Like, oh wow! He goes flying by behind him. So
yeah,
very cool stuff.
Yeah, I mean, birds are like it's amazing. Just because like we think that we're high tech, right? And then they're just like, no, man. We do this all day on one piece of worm. You guys suck.
we have about 1 billion years of experience doing
this.
Yeah. You guys have been doing this for what? 100? Yeah, no, you got nothing on us. Excellent. Yeah, actually, one of my to be honest, this is actually how I got into drones and UAVs and this whole hobby. One of my supervisors for my PhD, he was actually thinking about how to evolve some flight controller for a UAV to find thermals.
So there's thinking about sailplanes
and so that's kind of, I kind of thought about that. He mentioned that as a potential project, and I kind of took that up a couple of years ago and made it my own thing.
Yeah.
But that's actually a pretty cool idea because, of course, Facebook is looking for, planes that will stay in the air for years.
Yeah.
Facebook and Google. So something like that is very cool idea. Anyway.
Yeah, but it's actually not that hard. I've looked into that a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Like finding thermals with the gyroscopes, they're so accurate. And one of the neatest ideas that I saw was like putting really high sensitive temperature probes.
Yep.
On both sides of the wingtips.
Okay.
So that you can feel the center of the thermal, and then it's a really simple algorithm.
Interesting. I'd have to investigate that a little bit further.
I just Google autonomous soaring. There's some really cool projects on it. Yeah, there's some pretty good successes on it as well.
Yeah, definitely. That could be a good undergrad project for some.
Yeah.
Lucky student or unlucky student. I'm not sure which. Right. Well, we're coming up on the hour mark, so I want to thank you for taking the time and being with us tonight. This is very cool. It's great to hear the experience, the long range experience from the God himself. Yeah, we're not.
Oh, we just did it first. We didn't do it better, right?
Yeah. Doing it first counts.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
Nobody talks about Russia going to the moon, right?
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
They talk about Russia going to space, but
did they actually go to the moon? Like, did Russia actually go to the moon?
They may have sent probes. I don't think they actually sent a manned mission to the moon. Yeah. Of course, if you believe the internet, we didn't go.
Yeah, well, then there is no moon and the Earth is flat.
Yeah. It's just a cardboard cutout.
Yeah, and we're all owned by lizard people.
Yeah,
that's my favorite one.
And the water lizard people.
and the water is turning the frogs gay. That was.
Yeah. I've seen that one too. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I love Alex Jones. It's good.
no worries. I actually worked when I was doing my PhD. I worked for a crazy guy who actually watched InfoWars religiously.
Oh, okay. Like seriously or ironically?
I think actually seriously, which is kind of
Okay.
worrisome. I did preface that with the crazy guy. So
yeah. Okay. Well,
yeah. So, but yeah. Anyway, where were we? Yeah, I was thanking you. Thanking you for being first. Trappy, we trust.
Well, yeah. Thanks for having me on. That was great.
Yep. You still need to make that T-shirt. I want that T-shirt in Trappy we
Which
trust.
one? Oh no, we're making. I teased some shirts the other day on the couch. That'll be our next project. We got like 3 to 4 new shirt designs out there.
Very cool. One
is pretty funny. One is called Long Range to the Moon, and the moon is like just a moon picture of the moon. Yeah,
oh,
so
cool.
that'll be right up your alley.
Yeah, definitely. Especially, I fly on the moon all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's water on your moon.
My moon's a little bit special.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely got to come out to Chile one time.
Yeah, definitely. I would suggest February. February is the time to come because I have a month off, so I can show you around.
Cool.
So that's great. That's the only thing about being a university teacher is it's good and bad. I know when my vacations are, and I know when my vacations are.
So, well, you get vacations, man.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I went to Bali the other day, and it was work related. And
please tell me you actually got to the beach.
No.
Oh, come on.
I seriously didn't. Like I was running a race, and during the race, I was answering and coding some business logic. But yeah, that actually reminded me of my last holiday, which was in Bali, and that was like 4 years ago, and it was 3 days. And we were flying throughout the entire 3 days, and the goal of the holiday was to make a promo video for the Discovery Pro.
Yep.
And I was like, technically, that's not a holiday, I guess. And then like they were like, so when was your last holiday? I was like, man, like, does like that count? And they were like, well, were you doing Team Blacksheep stuff? And he's like, yeah, man, 24/7. Like, no, then it doesn't count. I'm like, fuck, man. Like, I guess like the last holiday I had was the New York City trip.
Okay, yeah.
Because I was only flying half the time back then, and flying was actually not my business.
Yeah.
Like it started as a business, pretty much like as a serious business after the New York flight. So that was the last holiday I had.
I remember you talking about that being the origin of TBS.
Yeah. Well, that was kind of the when it became financially viable to invest energy.
Yep. Excellent. Well, anytime you want to come down to Chile for a holiday.
Yeah. Sounds good. Sounds relaxing.
We'll film some promo stuff here for you.
Yeah, we'll run up mountains and look for broken equipment.
Yeah, perfect. I can do that. Right. Well, thank you for your time. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. I think we have quite a few people out here. Let me give a shout out here. There's 10 people watching. Only 10 people are watching. Guys, come on, this is Trappy.
You got a bad time, man. Like I do the analysis. Now is the worst time. Inactivity on Facebook. Yeah. Anywhere.
Yeah. Well,
so you should consider either going later or earlier.
The problem is this is the optimum time for me, unfortunately.
Okay, all right.
It's just bad time for everybody else.
Well, people can watch it later, right?
Yeah. No, they'll be able to see this. This will be on the channel for forever. So.
Right.
Well, thank you again, and don't work too hard.
No, I'll try to get only a couple things done today.
Excellent. If one of those things is a 2.4 gigahertz FP vision, we'll be very happy.
Yeah, well, I will keep you updated, man. All right.
All right. And
Have
to
a
our
good one.
listeners and watchers, thank you very much. This is cool. Thank you guys for tuning in. I want to give a shout out to Gonzalo, Jason, Mike Stevens, Mike Virgin, Obsidian FPV, and who else do we have in channel? I think Peter was there, and Shane Trawick was there as well. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next week with another special guest if I can figure one out. So see you guys later. Thank you, Trappy. Have a good night.